Hi, my name is Jimmy Prater, and this is the Car Sharker. I train people how to close. That's what I do. I'm a closer. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how to increase your sales 20%. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you to click the subscribe button and the bell button so I can alert you when I upload more videos. Now let's talk about traditional sales process. That's the core of the auto industry. Selling a car traditional style is the core of the auto industry. Forget about the internet. I don't want to talk about it in this video. I want to talk about traditional sales process. I want to talk to you why you're not teaching it in there. How are you going to close a car deal if you're not teaching the sales staff traditional sales process? Maybe you don't know it as a manager, as a trainer. Maybe you're just trying to be fancy and tell people there's better ways. If you're a consultant and you're going out and telling everyone that the meet and greet is no longer that important, you're crazy. 90% of the sale is what? Attitude, listening, and appearance. You got to have a nice appearance, and you got to listen. Now, manufacturers are doing an outstanding job. They're doing an incredible job of training everybody to be product specialists. They're doing a better job than ever before. But what they're not telling you is how to close a car deal. And that's what I do is I train people how to close car deals. Now hang with me, because by the time we get to the end of this video, you're going to know how to increase your sales 20%. Now, the first thing you have to do to close a car deal is recognize that there are two closes in a car deal. You close the product, you close the figures. The product, the figures. The product, the figures. Now, let's say you were to implement traditional sales process again at your dealership. Let's say you started training that. Let's say you went from the meet and greet to the end of the sale. What comes at the end of the sale? That's right. You probably are already thinking it, but you don't really want to say it. You got to ask for the sale. By asking for the sale, you're asking for the close, right? But it's scary because you're going to get objected. They're going to give you tons of objections. Shower me with objections. I don't care, because I say the same thing over and over and over and over and over on an objection. Let's say I'm selling that car and I get to the very end and it's the uncomfortable moment. Okay, well, you got a card? I hope you're not carrying a card on you. It's uncomfortable. Hey, look him right in the eye. Sir, ma'am, if the figures were absolutely agreeable, will you own and take delivery today if the figures were agreeable? Mr. or Mrs. Johnson, will you own and take delivery today if the figures are agreeable? Betty, will you own and take delivery today if the figures are agreeable? Bob, will you own and take delivery today if the figures are agreeable? Boy, they're going to give you objections. They're going to give you objections. They are. Well, I don't know if it's going to fit in my garage. I'd have to talk to my mechanic. Okay? And I don't have my trade in here. And I don't know what my payments are going to be. Bob, if the figures were absolutely agreeable, will you own and take delivery of the vehicle today? Bob, sir, ma'am, Betty, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, if the figures were absolutely agreeable, will you own and take delivery of the vehicle today? You see how I'm asking it? I'm looking them right in the eye and I'm asking them. Because I already did my job. I did the meet and greet, the whole walk around and the demonstration, and I took them around the dealership even. I've done everything I'm supposed to do because I was trained to be a product specialist, but I wasn't trained to be a closer. Now close. Ask for the sale. Because every time they give you an objection, you say, oh, I understand that. That's all about the figures. When they tell you they have to see if it's going to fit in the garage, oh, I understand that's all about the figures. When they say that they're looking for a low payment, absolutely, that's all about the figures. When they tell you that they must talk to their mechanic, yes, I understand that. That's all about the figures. Or their brother, yes, I understand it. That's all about the figures. So again, sir, ma'am, if the figures were absolutely agreeable, would you only take delivery of this vehicle today? They're going to coincide with you. We know that tactic. We know how it works. They're going to sit down at one of your fancy tables. I know all you dealers got fancy tables now because that's going to sell you more cars. Fancy tables. You sit down and you get your proposal out and you write it right out. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson will own and take delivery today if the figures are agreeable. Then you write right next to it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, start filling the blanks in. Must fit in the garage, low payment, brother's approval, mechanic's approval. It's that simple. Right here, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, you turn it around to them, you're going to face it to them, you say, I wrote it right here that you own and take delivery today if the figures are absolutely agreeable. And these are the figures that you told me outside in the lot. So go ahead and sign right here. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's going to sign it because they're going to think. They're going to think. Hear me out. That they still have an out on the sale. That's what they were thinking. They're going to sign that proposal. Guess what you did as a salesperson? You closed the sale. You closed the sale. You closed it. You should be proud of yourself. You're a closer. Because there's two closes in a sale, right? There's two closes. There's the sale and there's the figures. You closed the product. You closed the figures. You've done your job. Salespeople's done their job. They've done their job. Now, let's hope after them signing it that the dealership that you're working at or the dealer who's watching this right now, let's hope that they have a closing process. Oh, I hope you got a closing process. Do you have a closing process for the figures? You close the product. How are you going to close the figures? You don't, do you? You don't have a closing process because it's not that important anymore. Traditional sales process, none of that is important anymore. Drives me nuts. Develop one. And if you can't, call me. I'll help you. Check it out. Salespeople have a really high turnover rate. I hear it all the time. I can't get salespeople. Why not? Are they making money? Well, yeah, hey, we're same as down the street. And here are all the excuses. All of them. If they're making money, they're staying. They'll be knocking at your door. And how do they make money? You train them good on being a product specialist, but you're not training them on traditional sales processes. So it merges together for the closing process of the numbers. 2 closes in a car deal. Now, let's not get it twisted. As a salesperson, you better be selling that vehicle. You better be selling yourself. You better have a nice appearance. You better have an outstanding attitude. Listening. Listen to that customer's needs, wants. Get them to trust you. They trust you because of why? Because you did that meet and greet, because you complimented them. People like to be complimented. Now, I've told you how you're going to increase your sales by 20%. I just showed you. By asking for the sale. If the figures were absolutely agreeable, will you want to take delivery of the vehicle today? Hopefully you're doing that. Hopefully you're closing the product so you can close the figures. Please tell me you're doing that. Please tell me you got a closing process, a desking process, a finance process, and you're merging them all together. Listen, it's all about the figures. That's all it is. It's all about the figures. My name is Jimmy Prater. This is the Car Sharker. Let's not forget to subscribe. Let's not forget to click the bell so I can alert you when more videos come along and I upload them. Remember one thing. If you can close a car deal, then you can sell anything in the world. Now go sell something.